All right, we had a great lunch, and I'm very happy to be here. Out from the East Coast side, I was in Florida last week. I had to evacuate from there, and then I was stuck in the storm in New York, and my flight got delayed by 10 hours. So I'm so happy to be on this side of the country. The idea on today's session is to talk about operational excellence and how it maps into digital transformation. So we had a few slides we wanted to walk you through with that. Let me see if this works. It doesn't. Yep, so from Quinn today and through this Prodigy session, we had Lydia who had introduced us earlier. Lydia is our AVP for customer success. She's based out of San Diego, and she's our point of contact for all local interaction. She recently joined us from one of our client side, so we're very happy to have her here. I am Ankit Singh. I'm SVP for Strategic Growth. I've been with the brand for 15 years. A lot of you might know Quint as Quattro. We were Quattro up till 2019, and then we got into a strategic tie-up with a holding company which was more fintech oriented. And that's when we became Quint. So since 2019, we've been servicing a couple of your Prodigy customers, credit unions on the fraud detection side. And very recently with Amber, we've been interacting on how we can help in improving operational excellence across various verticals for the credit unions. So before we do that, I thought after lunch, let's do a little bit of a stress buster. So I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions, and there are freebies we're giving away. So the first one, what is the percentage of new accounts that may leave before they become profitable, resulting in significant financial losses for credit unions? So any guesses? 77%. Close. Let's go a little lower. Okay. Little lower. Almost there. Very good. Almost there. All right, one more time. 40. There we go.
I will be throwing.
All right. But the significance of this data that we want to bring in is that we've seen a lot of attrition happening at various levels, whether it's employee turnover, whether it is losing to the fintechs, to the banks, vice versa. We've seen that a lot of members are now have more and more options, and that is why we believe it is so important for us to support through operational support and operational excellence. Moving to the next question. This is on the ID theft side. There is an identity theft case every -seconds. Any guesses? 1, no.
17. That's pretty close.
Go up, 17 and up.
19. You got it.
22. There is an identity theft case every 22 seconds here in the US. And I know Nathan from Super yesterday said also about synthetic ID. We've been seeing that as a huge issue for the credit unions that we support. Synthetic ID is a whole different animal, if you may, from what just plain simple ID theft could be. So we'll talk more about that as we move forward. Last question. It costs %% of an employee's salary to replace them. Any guesses? On an average? Oh, too high. Let's go lower than 40. Very close, 32. So it costs on an average about 33%, the salary for them when we have to replace an individual. So we've seen a huge turnover. COVID kind of started with the Great Resignation. It still continues. We see that as a great issue across the customers that we say, whether it's on bank side or on trade union side, it is a tough one, and the market is in a very difficult situation as well. So what's happening in the market? What is the development? What is happening in the payments world? We wanted to just share that while most of you are aware of this, but the digital transformation is not just a thought process anymore. It is a reality. We've seen a lot of organizations speed up their digital transformation thanks to COVID. What was slated to happen, 5 years from now, just happened in a year. And a lot of member education is very important. We have seen that while you might have advancements, you might be able to bring a great app or a front-end tool, but most of the members are unable to perform those activities. So now, how do we stay ahead with that? So there are a lot of resources that trade unions have, but along with that, there is a lot of other issues on the flip side. With every improvement in payments, there is a risk of financial crime and risk that comes along with any advancement. So we have faster payments Fed now. I'm not sure how many of you are already listed to do this. I was at a dinner last week in Florida. We'd invited a few credit unions, and we had about $40 billion worth of credit unions in our dinner, and none of them were ready for Fed now. The real-time payments, it is a great initiative. It is something that has already happened in the UK and Europe. US has been catching up to what Europe is typically been doing on the payment side, at least. But when faster payments came in there was a huge balloon, an issue of fraud that came in as well. Receiving and sending both saw a huge issue with faster payments in Europe as well. So we are observing that place. We are understanding what the dynamics are going to be. We are enrolled as one of the approved vendors with Fed now. So Quint is participating in that, and we are very well engaged in understanding how we can assist credit unions and banks alike. BNPL, a lot of credit unions might be offering it, but it's a great opportunity for us to gain member satisfaction. But at the same time, we have started seeing issues around fraud again with BNPL. A lot of risk involved, and a lot of credit unions are unable to map up to that. And then, of course, at the end of the day, flexible payment options. So the whole digital transformation journey is kind of expanding and exploding, and it is important for all of us to be participating in that. Moving ahead, we also wanted to quickly give a quick input on member satisfaction. So this is as per the Forbes survey that was performed. And unfortunately, the member satisfaction has been going down over the years, especially since 2017. One of the reasons that when we read through the survey, the report has been, are the trade unions equipped enough to handle the digital requirements for the members? The Gen Z, and go ahead. So all of them require faster, instantaneous results. They can't wait for 2 days for their money. They want their money now. So I think there is a lot of issues around member satisfaction, and the whole point with COVID, with the branches closing down, with more digital influence coming in, members were not ready for that wave. Nobody was. But at the same time, we also saw that credit unions were kind of taking a loss in terms of member experience because of short bandwidth issues. We did not have enough people to kind of hold all the queries. The contact centers for a lot of institutions saw a huge increase in the demand, but there were not enough people to service them. So there were long hold queues, a lot of waiting, and that all resulted in member dissatisfaction again. So we truly believe that it is important for us to make sure that while we go on the route of digital transformation, but along with that, we also have the right people to do those activities. And last but not the least, this is the last bit of the trend that we will share, is about the employee data. We've seen a huge turnover continue from the Great Resignation moment, and one of the questions we asked was, it costs 33% of employee salary, 38% of employee quit within the first 1 year. When we kind of interviewed a lot of our customers, one thing that came out was they're losing a lot of their frontline or manager level resources because they want to do more. The employees want to do more. A data analyst wants to be a data modeler. An entry level fraud investigation advisor wants to be a higher fraud level 2 advisor. But because of the high volumes that the credit unions have, their employees need to continue to do what they're doing and are unable to upgrade themselves. And then comes a fintech who offers them double the salary and says, "I'll take you as a data modeler." And there you go, the employees go over. So we've seen a lot of the customers, which is our credit union customers, losing a lot of their talent just because of the fact that they are unable to kind of allow their people to do more. And that's when providers like Quint come in, because we try and help out and do the entry level work for you while your team can do more focused and more higher level work. So one of the things we thought was that we can assist with the employee turnover. We've seen this successfully for a lot of our customers. So in our talks with Amber, I've been speaking with her for over a year now. We've been trying to move, what can we do in order to help? What is the pain area for your credit unions? How can Quint assist? So one of the things that Amber kind of assisted and guided us with was a lot of the credit unions were wanting people to help with accounting services, loan management, contact center, data analytics, and so on and so forth. So there were a lot of service category types rather than a solution. Quint does provide both services and solution, but for this particular gathering and this particular initiative with Prodigy, we were talking more on the service. So we have kind of curated a service offering for the credit unions of Prodigy, where the service is going to be provided by Prodigy, but then powered by Quint. So this should be coming up very shortly. Amber is going to start releasing some insights on that as we move forward throughout the remaining part of this year. Who is Quint? Once again, we are a services organization, which was earlier Quattro. We were completely into fraud and risk management for a long part of our service offering, but then we graduated and opened up our service offering into other verticals. And primarily we have three deliverables: data management or data sciences, plus expert services, and therefore after process automation. So it's the expert services, which is the FTE support that we provide, that kind of helps in engaging with a lot of data interaction, and then of course looking at processes and providing process automation. So at the heart of it, it is an agent, an analyst, a frontline who kind of supports and handles all of this. We have a lot of customers in the US already. We have been servicing more than 40 customers and credit unions across all sizes. And then this is the list of services that we provide, and this has been curated for the Prodigy credit unions. So whether it is account services, your 5300 report, or it is financial crime, risk management. Again, this is omni-channel, or multi-channel rather, whether it's a credit debit fraud, an ACH, a P2P, a Zelle transaction. So our FTs are geared to help you with that interaction. And one of the main important factors is that our FTs are platform agnostic, which means whether using a Verifin, a FICO, a Patriot Officer, any particular tool, our analysts are already trained on that. So they are platform agnostic. That really helps in shortening the learning curve. And you have immediate, ready, available people to start from like a week from now. So that's what the fun part is. Analytics as a service is a great service offering. I know Gordon from Datava did a great job in his presentation. So did Nathan in his presentation. Data is so much to so many people, but how do you understand what is coming from the platform? You need some kind of an intelligence, which is the human interaction, to basically engage with the data and take out meaningful results from it. So we have all levels of data analysts and data scientists, depending on the requirement of the credit union, will be able to provide accordingly. Loan management, whether it is unsecured loans, whether it is residential, commercial, we provide underwriters and processors across the loan portfolio. Dispute management, again, a key area where we saw a huge increase because of COVID and other activities in the world. Um, Again, our analysts are able to take in the call from the member and then work the case 90 days as per the Reg E or Reg Z. And they can help in the dispute management from end to end. We've seen a lot of our customers come in and take in services around dispute management post-COVID at least. And then last but not the least, contact centers. So we have omni-channel analyst, which is whether it is a phone interaction, a chat, or an email. Our analysts can come and support 24/7. So we are available on weekends, we are available on Thanksgiving, 4th of July. You have your member getting responded to every second of the day. So that's an important activity. We've seen a lot of our customers, take that and give that as a differentiator. So if a credit union says I'm open 24/7 and you'll have a real human to speak to, I think that creates a great NPS at the end of the day. So how do we do what do we do? What is operational excellence? What are the pillars of operational excellence? We have both onshore and offshore centers. A lot of our activities that we do in operational support for credit unions include proactive communication. We believe that in the initial, say, 30 to 60 days of our project with any customer, those are the founding blocks. And we're able to understand the risk appetite of the credit union. We understand the policies of the credit union. We are able to understand what is it that they want from this particular SOW, the statement of work. So we are governed by a lot of SLAs. So every activity that Quint performs on behalf of the credit union is governed by a service level agreement. So, and we provide a lot of reporting on that. So at every point of time, you'll have daily, weekly, monthly reports that will help you to understand how the portfolio is doing, what is going right, if there are any problems, how can we resolve that. So communication at the heart of it again, holds the key to the success of what we do. But we do believe that we are basically augmenting your staff. The idea is not to replace. The idea is to augment so that your onshore teams, your teams can do much more important work. Work with member relations rather than just looking at this as a fraud or looking at the underwriting of the loan. We believe that the member satisfaction is driven by the direct credit union team more than the back office team at that level. So again, there's a lot of focus on regulatory and compliance. So we are an SSA 18 certified SS company, PCI DSS 3.2 certified. So we understand the kind of governances the credit unions go through and the activities. We have access to a lot of information. So data security is at its topmost level. And we provide a lot of our supporting documents and our certifications at time of due diligence. So we have a ready due diligence package available that allows credit unions to make sure that their interest is taken care of. Another very important part is when we go into transitions, which is basically when we are onboarding a customer. And may I invite Lydia on the stage because that's what she does on a day-in, day-out basis. She leads our customer success and transitions portfolio. So I'll hand it over to her to walk us through that.
Thank you, Ankit. So my primary role is to be the bridge between onshore and offshore so that the customer, the credit union, doesn't have to do that. So I am locally available from the beginning. So the design, I am here to come on site, learn with your SMEs, document your SOPs if they're not already documented, and then go into transfer where I completely take over the process and work with you more as a consultant and manage the knowledge transfer that happens from onshore to offshore. And it doesn't just end there. After we onboard you guys, I will also be your point of contact for anything that comes up as far as any issues, making sure that we provide solutions. I'm essentially your go-to person. So the person that's doing most of the work for you so that you can focus on the things that you need to focus on. We've learned, and I've learned from being a customer with Quint before, that when you are taking on something like this, the in-house or in-staff of the company don't necessarily have the time to train and transfer that knowledge over to the team that will be essentially taking over. You're at that point, pulling them in all these different directions that they already didn't have. So that's where I'm stepping in and taking that role for the credit union, so that we're really partnering with you to make sure that it's a seamless transition, and furthermore, make sure that the account and relationship is at your satisfaction.
Thank you, Lydia.
Yep.
We did want to share a few, impact, like results of our relationship with many credit unions and banks. And this is just at a very high level. Some key takeaways from our relationship ongoing projects with them and services. So if you look at dispute management, we did it for a bank based out of San Diego, and before they started working with Quint, they were writing off everything which was above or below $250 because they didn't have the bandwidth. So the cost of doing that activity, managing that claim was more than what they could get back. So they would just write it off. And we came in with Quint and we started with a kind of a test pilot with them. We said, let's work on these cases first. So gradually moved the 250 to 200 to 150 to 100, and now we take everything which is $25. So we have reduced the write-off value, the risk for the bank by working on all those cases. The reason we could do that is provide, that again, the bandwidth. The bank did not have enough employees, and the time and the investment, and they don't have the experts to understand the nitty-gritties across the system all the time. One key aspect, because we're 24/7, in many cases, there were certain queue types within the claims that we would work in the night time, in the offshore team, and when the onshore team would come, the cases were already ready and work, and all they had to do was just do a cursory review, 3 checks, and it was done. So rather than spending, 20 minutes on a claim, they were just spending 2 minutes, just doing, because we did all the heavy lifting for them. So that kind of works really well for the bank, and the impact is there. Another side is fraud detection. We work with the credit union or NEOP, one of the largest. They use Verifin. Using Verifin, they saw a lot of false positive cases, 97+%. So what's the best way to stop fraud? Block everything. But at the same time, there is a member dissatisfaction that gets created. So we started working again, with them as a case to understand how we could help out. So we started reviewing the cases that that were getting tripped by the system. And when we started doing that, we were able to bring down the false positives to up to 22.6%. So we saw that reduction because, again, we had the experts who, one, understood Verifin, who, two, understood the spending patterns. They were not going by just a transaction. They were looking at the 360-degree of the account of the member, looking as far as 6 months back into the statement and understanding why a charge at 2 AMK for jewelry. Why is it coming right now? So you have to understand, as with the system, they'll just block it. So we were able to provide that benefit. Contact center, again, we currently work with the organization wherein we provide the FTE, but at the same time, there are a lot of template-based responses that goes back to the members. What is my 1099, or I want to reset my PIN. So there's already a template available, which the FTE or the credit union rep would go to a shared folder, pick it up from there, fill in the details from the core, and then send it. Now that activity could take from 5 minutes to 25 minutes, depending on the case. But what we did was, because we had worked with them for over a year, we invested in a business analyst that read their process and then went back to our development team to create a plug-in automation with Salesforce. So right now, all of the work for email responses that was happening manually is now happening automated, where when a member sends in the query through the online banking system, it goes to our system in the background of the Salesforce. And then from there, automatically, it picks up the right template using NLP and keyword searches, picks up the template, fills in the data from the core, and sends it back to the member directly. You can do a secondary IRV if you want, but automatically it can send that within seconds. So this has kind of helped in reducing the kind of pressure on the contact center for email responses, which accounted for more than 60% of their volume. Because of COVID, we saw a huge increase in the email communication. Analytics as a service, again, as I said, data is so much to so many people. We've been working with many organizations. We initially started with only fraud analytics, but now we provide analytics across GRC, which is governance. We also provide credit risk, commercial, securities. So depending on the need of the organization, we are able to provide them with credit analytics or with analytics as a service. One of the key things is that what we saw is a lot of organizations get a lot of ticket when they invest in a platform, which kind of intelligence gathering or a BI tool. Now, at that point of time, there are a lot of tickets that are getting generated where somebody has to go to the SQL table, find that data, put it on the Tableau, and then send it back. Now, that takes time. Each ticket can take from 5 minutes to 5 days, depending on the amount of data we have to churn. And this is entry-level data analyst work. So we found that this is something that we could provide easy support to the organization, and that's when their team members started working on the modeling on the data scientist part because we are handling the tickets for them. So that was again a great bonus for the organization. Just a reiteration, 24/7 is not just by the word 24/7, it truly is 365 days. We've seen this as a huge differentiator, irrespective of the vertical we are servicing, because if there is a loan application that comes in, if it is worked or the heavy lifting is done before the onshore team comes in, I think you're saving a lot of time, energy, and effort. Similarly, if you have your contact center open on 4th of July, or at 2 a.m. in the night, a member calls up and somebody says hi, a human voice, I think it takes a lot of impact. So the 24/7 is a critical aspect of our service provide. And one key element is that we don't have to be, owning the 100% of the process. Your onshore team and us can have a handshake. So probably you do 20%, we do the remaining 80, or we do 60 and again you do the remaining 20. It depends. We are open because we have a subject matter experts that study the entire process and then can start or kind of start and stop depending on your comfort level. So there are a lot of things that you may not be able to outsource. We understand that. So, but we can do the heavy lifting on the other areas as well. At the end, there are a lot of benefits for working with Quint. A lot of our customers are seeing the value again in terms of scalability, in terms of what you can do in terms of digital transformation. All your efforts that you're trying to pull in new systems, new integrations. I think a lot of effort has to be put in the way the human touch is. Somebody has to work off everything. There is no 100% automated solution ever. There's no silver bullet. It is a combination of smart technology and smarter people. So we believe in that at Quint, and that's what we wanted to share. And that's it. I'll be happy to take in any Q&A, any questions, or any of the other ones.
I do want to make one point, just because I was a customer of Quint. I think I do have a very unique perspective, being able to join with them. One thing that helped me make a decision in joining the team is I think Quint treats each of their customer, as far as the processes and everything they take over, they're not a vendor, they're an extension of their customer. So they really take pride in owning, your values, your expectations, and they do a great job of really trying to commit to not only doing the things right, but after some time looking at where can they help you to the point of automating, right? So looking at your processes, where can we save you money? Because ultimately we're working together.
If no questions, of course, Amber and team will be happy to present more details as we move forward in the year. But again, thank you for your time. Happy to be here.